What's up, guys? So today we are going to be reviewing and installing this Hunter Apex 2 ceiling fan. I actually got it from Costco. It was on sale, $20 off of 100, so 80 bucks out the door, plus tax obviously. It's Costco item number 1397556. I'm going to be installing it in my gym here. As a lot of you know, gyms pretty much everywhere are shut down for the time being, so we went ahead and picked up this Total Gym from Costco, and then that Nordic Track S22i exercise bike, which is a beast. There'll be a review coming up on that. Let's open it all up and see what's in here. It's got a little bit of tape on the top. Shouldn't be too hard to open. There. This is actually a remote powered model. We've got something similar already in these other rooms, and these things are awesome. They don't have the cord that dangles down, getting in the way everywhere. So here's paperwork. It's gonna be instructions. You're gonna need those. This looks like some kind of cover. It might be part of the balancer, so may need that. Here's the actual control system that makes this thing smart in a way. This is gonna feed or connect between your household wiring, and then that's gonna connect to the fan itself, so definitely need this. Then here is the actual remote. Looks very similar to the other ones we have, and this is a little cradle that you can either stick some two-way tape back here or screws, whatever. It's kind of mounted up to something, so you always have that handy. I have this on the side of my dresser in the master bedroom, so like that. It also has some accessories here, like you got the wire nuts, actual Duracell batteries, which is nice, and just a little guide just telling you what the remote does. Then this is the base plate to the motor. Actually, I'm sorry, this is the lighting fixture. That's where the bulbs are going to actually go. Here we've got the down tube. This is going to connect from the ceiling to the fan, kind of tie it all together. Then here are the actual arms. Looks like they're going to hold the blades in place. They got a nice kind of modern look to them. They feel quality. I don't know what they're made out of. Some type of cast. Kind of feels like aluminum or something, but these definitely feel like a quality unit, so that's always good. Go on out. And then here we've got some more accessories, it looks like. We've got some more wire nuts, larger ones, and then all the screws to hold the blades and everything in place. Definitely don't want to lose that. Then here is the balancing kit. It's kind of neat how this works. They've got these little weights that you stick to the back of it, and just kind of see if that cures the wobble. It's one of those things you got to do little by little, but it'll get the job done. And now the main part. Nice packaging. Protection. And here we've got some warm light bulbs. It looks like they're LEDs too, because it says they're 9 watts and 3000 Kelvin, so it's a warm white, not that super harsh, cool white. That's personal preference. I like the cool white in the kitchen and then the warmer colors in the bedrooms. So here is the actual light diffuser. Nice, decent quality for sure. It feels thick and sturdy. Here is the housing, or the shroud for the mount motor. And here is what's going to actually connect the motor to the ceiling. You're gonna actually put this up against the ceiling, and it'll connect the two worlds. The part of the motor is gonna actually click in here and just hang down here and just be supported by this the whole time. Actually, they don't seem like they hold, but they hold just fine. This one's nice because it's got these little rubber feet on the end that'll kind of help it with the vibration. I don't think I've seen that on the other one, so that's a nice little smart feature. All right, so next is the motor. Nice sturdy feeling unit. It's got the Hunter on it, and as you see, like I said earlier, there isn't any of those pull chains hanging around anywhere, kind of flopping around, getting in the way, all annoying. This is kind of newer style ceiling fan, so I really like that. The nice thing about these blades, like a lot of them, they're actually reversible, so you can go with this lighter color wood or kind of this darker, which matches this table pretty well. With the look of everything in the office, I'll probably stick with this darker wood just to kind of blend it in. All right, so we got everything unpacked, so let's get to installing it.
The tools you're more than likely going to need are a drill driver. Got this Ryobi 12 volt. Basic hand tools like pliers, snips, needle nose pliers, just in case. You're going to need some kind of knife to cut the packaging, and then a flat blade and Phillips screwdrivers. Item that might come in handy, especially if it starts to get a little darker, is a work light. So make sure you have some kind of light because you're going to have to turn off power.
All right, so first step you're going to want to do is turn off every switch. You can turn them off at the breakers if you like, but this is sufficient. All right, so first step you're going to want to do is actually remove this cover plate from the ceiling. And then in there, this is a new construction house, so it's going to be a little cleaner than most. In there, there's going to be some wiring and a couple of screws holding everything together. So you're going to want to remove this center brace piece because that was just in there for holding that cap into place, and that's not strong enough to support the ceiling fan. Now next we're going to be taking this mount plate and screwing it in where the other mount was. You can either use hand tools or power drill for this. I've got both, but I'm going to go ahead and use this Ryobi one. There's going to be all these wires up here. They're all just crunched up, so you want to just go ahead and pull those out of the way. It's normal to have excess wires, so don't worry about it. You can snip those off if need be. Once this is all lined up, you want the screw holes to line up with everything. You can either use the screws that you just pulled out of here or the ones that came in the kit. I'm going to use the ones that I pulled out of here because I know the threads line up and everything should match. Then you just cinch it down. Simple as that. Doesn't really take that much, actually. It's kind of surprising. It doesn't seem like this would be strong enough to hold up a ceiling fan, but hey, been tried and true. You don't want it too tight. You just want to make sure everything's secure. Okay, that looks like that's good, so let's on to the next step. So we're back on the ground for this step, and it's a multi-part one. This is the actual motor that I showed you earlier. You got to remember that their Hunter logo is right side up so you can read it when it's hanging on the wall. Down here is where it'll actually connect to the lights, just this little connector, and then the blades themselves attach to this part down here, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. What we're doing on this step is attaching this down rod here, which comes with this spool of wire all raveled up. So you want to unravel it and then feed it through here. This is going to be the part that actually connects to the wall or the ceiling with that mount we just put up. What's important about this though is once you do that, this is just a cover for looks basically. Once you mount this up on this rod down here, it threads into place. This set screw here, once that's all threaded down and everything, it actually had this little red sticker on it. It says prevent serious injury or death. Wrench that down with pliers. That's just so it doesn't work itself loose while the fan's in motion. All right, let me do that and then we'll get back up on the ceiling. All right, so we got the motor all mounted up with the down rod and everything. I tightened the screw, the excess wires hanging down. We're gonna actually install it on this down rod. Notice I bent the wiring back just to kind of get it out of the way of this guy here. You want to give it one last test to make sure everything's tight. I've already done that, so you got to remember to be careful. These things are pretty heavy and they can fall on whatever is below them. So you got to make sure it's on there before you walk away. So basically, just take this here and then you want to kind of guide it in as best you can. All right, that's gonna do it. Okay, everything's seated. This fan in particular is kind of like a triangular shape. A lot of them are just circles. Those are a lot easier, but this one's got this little groove it has to sit in just right, and looks like this one's good to go. It's supporting its weight, and that's by far the heaviest part of it, other than, you know, obviously the force it's going to generate when it's on. So let's go ahead and get this wired up. Each fan is going to be different as to what goes to what. The white and the black and blue and yellow are all going to have to connect to each other. I don't want to give advice on the wiring codes because everywhere is different, but shouldn't be too hard to figure out. Just go ahead and check your manual and use a voltometer if you're not 100% sure. All right, let me get it wired up. So as you can see, I got it all wired up now. You can do it yourself. It's really not that hard. You just got to make sure you take your time and match the wires correctly. And also a big one, make sure the power is off. Disconnect the breaker, flip the switch, do whatever you got to do. Just make sure that power is off. You do not want to get jolted in the middle of that. So obviously I cleaned up the wiring a little bit. I snipped it where I had to and linked everything up together. I will say one thing I noticed so far about this, the washers that come, or I'm sorry, the lock nuts that come with the kit are crap. They're way too small. So I just happened to have some larger ones in my little excess parts bin that I was able to use. I had them laying around from who knows what. They had some paint on them, so they're probably used. They don't have to be exact. Lock nuts or wire nuts or wire nuts. Just make sure everything's on there securely and not touching or shorting itself out. One thing that's kind of specific to my installation is I actually had 2 power wires. That's because some fans have switch controls where you can just have the fan on by itself or the lights on by itself or both together, and it's 2 separate switches on the wall. This one, it's a newer style, it's all remote control, so it only needed 1 power wire, so I just went ahead and capped the other one off, snipped the wire, and added a wire nut to it. I had to do that to the other units I've already installed, so it's fine. But you've got that extra power wire there for future use if you ever decide to. All right, so let's get that canopy on and get to the next step. Now I've got the canopy on it that's concealing all those wires. Just wanted to make sure to remind you, take your time doing that. Don't force anything into place or anything. If it's not fitting, take your time, move around the ladder if you have to. Do what you got to do to make sure everything tucks away neatly. And you don't have to jam anything in. You don't want anything getting jammed in there because that may cause a short and possibly a fire later. So if it's not going in smoothly, investigate it, see what's causing the issue.
because when things line up properly, it just clicks into place, no issues. All right, on to the next step.
All right, so for the next step, we are going to mount the actual arms that hold the blades into place. There's 5 of them, and they're just held on with 2 little Phillips screws each.
So they're all up there now, connected to it. Just again, take your time, make sure everything's snug and the screws go in straight. You don't want anything crooked or cross-threaded, because then it's more than likely to come loose and go flying at high speeds. You don't want that. So next step is going to be installing the fan blades, and then the ones on this particular fan are quite unique. Check this out.
Now for this next step, something that's really unique to this particular fan is the way these blades mount up. A lot of times you gotta screw them in, but these ones, they've just got these little nubs here that there's a post that actually fits into that on the fan itself. So again, this is just for this particular fan. Every fan's gonna be different. Most of them screw in. This is the first time I've run into this, but it's a newer style fan from Costco. All right, so let's get this up there.
So I got these blades here, and again, they just kind of line up with these little mounts, so you don't have to screw them in. Hopefully that's easier than the old school style screwing them in, because that was generally the hardest part, is having to hold them steady while you screwed them in. So let's get this on here and see how it goes. Let's do this first one right here. Gotta line all 3 up, kind of like a little triangle shape. It takes a bit of pressure, that's for sure. Oh, wow. Oh, that was easy. Okay. So let's do the other one. A lot of this fan included, have dual-sided blades. One side's usually lighter and darker, so make sure you got them all on the right side. Otherwise, you're gonna have to go back and flip it back around. Don't make things harder than they have to be. Life's already hard enough. Again, this particular fan, the Apex 2 from Costco, you gotta be careful when you put these blades on, because these blades aren't really all that sturdy. They're made to be light. They're still strong, but made to be light. So make sure you don't break anything. Oh man. All right. I'm stubborn. Last blade. Again, almost put it on backwards. Double check every time. You'll thank me later. All right. You see that one, along with the rest of them, went on easy, so there's always going to be one that gives you more trouble than the others. All right, so the blades are on there, and it's starting to look more and more like a fan. Let's get the lights on there next. All right, so for the next step, we're actually going to be installing this mount that holds the light bulbs and then the little light diffuser. The thing about this is the screws are actually already installed on the fan itself. So there are 2 of them that have these little keyholes that you got to turn, and then there's one down here that you just drive it in. So you unscrew one of them and then mount it all up. All right, looks like that's in. Okay, so the next step is going to be connect these wire connectors. They're all labeled A and A, but there's only one here, so shouldn't be too confusing. All right, got that linked all up and tuck everything in. All right, so that's got a little cover plate. I'm gonna go ahead and put that on now. So I got the cover plate on, and now I'm gonna install the light bulbs that came with it. These are LEDs, says they're 800 lumens each, and there's 2 of them. The good thing about this is that it's actually made to work with LEDs. Some of the older ones, you may be able to get away with using an LED bulb depending on the bulb itself, but some of them, they'll have flicking problems and this and that. That's just because these actually have some electronics in them. Considering this shipped with LEDs, should be fine. So, next step, we're gonna get the cover on there. All right, so our final step, got the bulbs in, got the fans on, everything's wired up. We're gonna install this little light diffuser. One thing to remember before we put this guy up, a lot of the fans, again, it's specific to each fan, but they'll have the switch to have the fan throw air down or suck it up under this mount where this is going to go. So make sure you got it in the right orientation that you want. I prefer the fan to just blow air down, so it's fine the way it is. So again, you'll just have these 3 grooves. You line that up with the grooves on the fan. It's on there, and then twist them. And the light itself will hang down a little, but it's caught by those grooves. And there you have it. The fan is done. Let's go ahead and give it a start. We have light, look at that. Awesome. Let's turn this light off and let's try the fan. Wow. All that with this little remote. When you first turn it on, you want to give it a second to kind of settle in. You might hear a couple odd noises or this or that. Don't panic. It kind of has to seat itself, you know. So just give it a little time, and then it'll work out the kinks. If there's still vibrations and noises, you want to investigate from there. That's where that fan balance will come in handy.
And there you have it. It's all said and done. Got this home gym / office mostly back together. Still got some work to do for sure, but that's for another day. Look at that view back there. It's beautiful. So lucky. Sun setting. All in all, it took about an hour and a half of actual work. Even if it takes you a week and a half of actual work, don't give up. Just keep at it. You can do it. It's really not that big a deal. A lot of people see these things are afraid to put the effort in, but in reality, it's no biggie. Basically, for less than probably a quarter of the cost of what it would cost to have someone install this for you, you can have the actual fan itself. And here's the remote for it. It's a simple little unit. Gotta peel this off once and for all. Bam, light right there. On and off, light back. And then this is fan speed. And that's fan on and off. That's it. That's pretty much it for that. Again, don't be scared of doing this yourself. It's really no big deal. It was nothing in reality. Next, we've got to organize this home gym here. Home gym / office. Got the big monitor back there and the computer. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to have reviews of this Total Gym that we also got from Costco. And then this Nordic Track S22i. It's basically a Peloton, but quite a bit more features. It actually has incline and decline, kind of like a treadmill, and it's got like a virtual reality ride and all this. It's a neat little bike. We just got that, and that's basically the reason why we got this fan. All right, so until next time, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.